The annals of Sumerian mythology tell of celestial beings, interstellar travelers called the Anunnaki Nephilim, and earth-shaking giants, the Amorites, strolling across the fertile plains of ancient Sumeria. These giants are known as the sons of Anak, or giants of the Anunnaki. The Nephilim originated in the far reaches of space on the planet Nibiru. These phantom travelers came from a world that Earth did not know existed, under the guidance of knowledge beyond human comprehension. Their craft glided through space and time in search of food and to establish a connection between their world and the blue jewel we call home. The amazed eyes of early humans, or proto-humans, met their celestial vessels as they descended from the heavens. The Nephilim had bodies that combined the corporeal and the ethereal, and their otherworldly beauty captured human imagination. Some regarded them as gods, while others saw them as star messengers, signposts to universal truths. The Anunnaki Nephilim, seeking resources to revive their planet's failing vitality, focused on Earth's bountiful lands. They descended into the ancient land of Sumer, where the rivers Tigris and Euphrates weaved legends of wealth and life. The Sumerians viewed these creatures with fear and reverence because, up until that point, they had all experienced the hardships of subsistence. With time, the Nephilim taught their genetically engineered human companions knowledge beyond their own and taught them the skills of architecture, astronomy, and agriculture. But along with these gifts came an agreement that would change the path of history, the celestial and terrestrial union, giving birth to the Amorites, the giants of the Anunnaki. Rising from the loins of men and gods, the giants loomed large over the terrain like living titans. They were of extraterrestrial descent, and their faces combined human anatomy and heavenly beauty. These creatures, offspring of earthlings and Nephilim, carried within them the power of both worlds, with knowledge and skills unmatched by mortals. The giants raised cities that defied gravity and sculpted monolithic wonders that bewildered generations, establishing them as the architects of grandeur. But along with their great power came conflict and arrogance. Overwhelmed by their success, the giants wanted to rule over their inventors. The giants, endowed with godlike powers, shifted their aspirations towards the heavens themselves, causing the cosmic tie between Nephilim and humans to weaken. The conflict between son and father, between arrogance and modesty, raged over Sumer's lush fields like a celestial storm. The epic tales of gods and humans inscribed on clay tablets and carved into stone attest to the ensuing chaos. The Nephilim were caught between their good intentions and the unexpected consequences of their interstellar legacy as temples collapsed and empires rose and fell. Human mythology is deeply ingrained in the Nephilim and the giants of Anunnaki stories. This story reminds us that the threads of destiny are woven from the celestial and the frail yet resilient spirit of humanity itself. Whether passed down through the ages as divine lore or studied by contemporary minds looking for remnants of lost history. Nestled on the rust-coloured plains of Mars was an Anunnaki celestial way station, hidden away among the constellations. Hidden from prying eyes, this outpost connected the Earth and far-off stars. Intermediaries of cosmic mysteries, the Nephilim would set out on their astral current journey. They moored their ethereal vessels at this Martian way station before descending to the bountiful ancient Sumerian landscape. The anointed hands of the giants sculpted enormous megaliths that appeared to defy the laws of physics, transforming Baalbek, Lebanon, into a centre of cosmic energies. These enormous stones divulged the secrets of interstellar engineering, fitted with precision reminiscent of advanced geometries. The spaceports were designed to channel and harness energies beyond human comprehension, not just as symbols of the giants' power. Nestled on the banks of the Euphrates, Eridu, Iraq, was more than just a stone and clay city. Here, the tablets that the Nephilim gave the Sumerians were cuneiform messages carved into clay that connected the earth and the heavens. Often referred to as the Tablets of Cosmic Truth, since translated for the second time by Ryan Moorhen, these artifacts served as knowledge archival materials, disclosing the lineage of the Anunnaki gods who visited Earth. Among the Anunnaki deities, Enki is a key figure. He is the Lord of wisdom and the craftsman of life. These old tablets bore his glyph, representing his contribution to shaping humankind's future. Enki's divine creativity was responsible for creating humanity. It is thought he created the Rh negative bloodline first in ancient Sumeria, Basque country, Northwest Ireland, and Scotland, which woven together consciousness and life to produce a species that could acquire cosmic knowledge. The Anunnaki offspring in ancient Ireland were also called the Shining Ones. However, the tablets of cosmic truth also witnessed the celestial discord reverberating through the ages. The conflict between Anu and Enlil, the heirs to heavenly rule, reverberated through the lines carved into the clay. The conflict between the giants of the Anunnaki and their creators mirrored the cosmic drama unfolding in mortals and was an earthly manifestation of their interstellar rivalry. Geraldine Clark has highlighted this in her work several times. The giants' ambitious ascent towards the realm of their ancestors coincided with the Nephilim's ascension into heaven. Their interstellar odyssey included stops at the Eridu Sanctum, the spaceports of Baalbek, and the way station on Mars. Even though the sands of time have obscured the tablets of cosmic truth, they continue to be mysterious artifacts, their mysterious writings captivating those who dare to explore the cosmic beginnings of humanity's story. The story of the Nephilim and the giants of the Anunnaki beckons to those who dare to venture through the passageways of forgotten history within this symphony of gods and giants, of cosmic journeys and earthly aspirations. As one of the Nephilim, the cosmic travelers, Ningishzida was a key player and Enki's, the Lord of Wisdom, apprentice. This mysterious being possessed all of the knowledge about biotechnology and could mold life itself. The buzzword in the Pentagon these days is Ningishzida. Top officials are openly talking about his return. In one place, in the secret of secrets, the Pentagon openly acknowledges this. Tom DeLonge is set to confirm this in mid-2024. The caduceus, Ningishzida's emblem, represented his control over the threads of existence. Twined serpents encircling a central staff evoked human anatomy and served as a symbol of cosmic knowledge. The dualistic aspect of existence was reflected in the intertwining serpents, which represented the harmony of opposites, such as creation and destruction, and light and darkness. This symbol had a deeper meaning because it resonated with the human chakra system, the spiritual hubs controlling the body's energy flow. Every snake stood for the Ida and Pingala, the two streams that flowed beside the spine, creating energetic channels similar to the traditional concept of Kundalini. The Sushumna, the central staff, was oriented towards the chakras and called the seeker to progress through the stages of enlightenment. Ningishzida's biotechnology expertise went beyond physical constraints. Through his teachings, humanity acquired the skills of building and farming and the knowledge necessary to improve their physical and spiritual selves. He created melodic fusions of the heavenly and terrestrial, imbuing human forms with delicate energies that matched the universe's rhythm. Ningishzida and his symbol, the caduceus, were woven into the mystery of Nephilim's journey amid this interstellar dance. Their spacecraft landed at the Martian way station, a cosmic intersection where the rust-coloured terrain blended with starlight. Here, Ningishzida's biotechnological know-how harmonizes with the energies of Mars, molding the station's very structure to serve as a conduit between the stars and Earth. The spaceports of Baalbek, Lebanon, witnessed the marriage of earthly power and celestial mechanics. Inspired by the wisdom of the Nephilim, the giants channeled their knowledge through enormous megaliths that matched the universe's natural rhythms. With the help of Ningishzida, these monuments were designed to capture cosmic energies and strengthen the bond between the sky and the earth. The sanctum of cuneiform and clay, Eridu, contained a cache of tablets that revealed the Anunnaki gods' genealogies. Enki and Ningishzida were among them, indicating their cosmic influence over human history. The tablets of cosmic truth, etched with symbols resembling the caduceus, contained the secrets of Kundalini awakening and a way to ascend through the body and the realms of existence. The stars and the universe echoed with the story of the Nephilim, the giants of the Anunnaki, and the mysterious Ningishzida, the bearer of the caduceus. Their voyage, which united biotechnology and cosmic awareness, invited people to climb the knowledge spiral and go beyond space and time. One of Anunnaki's greatest lights, Ningishzida, not only became a master of biotechnology, but also a force for reform in the heavenly hierarchy. His voyage was one of self-awareness and rebellion against the rules set forth by the pantheon that oversaw cosmic affairs, the Anunnaki Council of 12. The council was simmering with tension. Although certain members possessed superiority over particular facets of human evolution, Ningishzida's scientific pursuits incited a restlessness that contradicted their beliefs. His fascination with harmonics and resonance generated discussions because he aimed to transcend the material world and explore the occult domains of energy and sound. Building Ningishzida's historic temples, which served as cosmic energy conduits, demonstrated his scientific endeavors. These structures were created carefully, using sound waves to interact with reality. He studied the sphere's harmonics and understood how the interplay of the frequencies of the planets shaped the universe's symphony. With his wisdom, Ningishzida taught humanity about these harmonics, leaving a legacy far beyond Sumer's boundaries. His teachings impacted Egypt, where the use of sacred geometry and the construction of the pyramids were examples of how cosmic harmonics were understood. The pyramids channeled energies that linked Earth to the celestial dance of stars, much like old resonating chambers. Ningishzida's defiance of the Council of 12 became more audacious as he navigated the maze-like passageways of cosmic intrigue. His vision went further than Anunnaki's meager influence on human evolution. He yearned for both material and spiritual enlightenment to elevate humanity. Because of this ambition, he was up against conservative ideals that aimed to dictate the course of human history. Even amidst cosmic discord, Ningishzida's symbol, the caduceus, had a deeper resonance. It symbolized his mastery of biotechnology and his ambition to break through the barriers limiting the universe. The intertwining serpents embodied his struggle to balance upholding the cosmic order and questioning its foundation. Ningishzida left a legacy of defiance that reverberated throughout history. His teachings sparked a flourishing of mysticism and knowledge by igniting curiosity. His temples served as monuments to the sphere's harmonics and the possibility for humankind to communicate with the universe through sound and energy. Ningishzida set out on an ambitious quest to close the gaps between spirituality and science, cosmic order and human destiny. His contributions as a cosmic outlaw and scientific trailblazer influenced the course of human evolution, and his teachings can still be heard in the resonant harmonies of old temples and the hallowed halls of ancient temples. Ningishzida's rejection of the Anunnaki Council of 12 during the cosmic upheaval sparked a chain of events that would influence humanity's history. Ningishzida's vision became bolder as the council held fast to its established dominion, a vision involving the creatures known as the Igigi. The Igigi were a mysterious people on Nibiru, labourers whose loyalty had soured over the Anunnaki's actions. Knowing how abundant the resources were on Earth, Ningishzida took the chance to change the course of events for both worlds. He summoned the Igigi to leave Nibiru in droves, calling them to come to Earth. The arrival of the Igigi was a turning point. Their labour focused on obtaining precious materials from mines in South America, the Middle East, and Africa. Their sweat mixed with the precious metal veins as they laboured beneath the Earth's surface. Ningishzida was the mastermind behind this project, which was intended to satisfy the Nephilim's need for resources and establish Earth's bastion under their rule. Still, the Igigi's presence planted seeds of discontent. Their outposts, scattered across different regions, became hubs of conflict and rivalry. The Anunnaki and the Nephilim were vying for the favour of the various factions of Igigi miners. Tensions boiled like molten turmoil beneath the surface of the Earth. Their ambitions collided. In their quest to mine resources, the Igigi even travelled to the barren wastes of Antarctica, where underground networks connected like veins inside a sleeping giant. They dug out their outposts in the icy expanse, using the icy energies of the terrain to power their extraction operations. However, their intense rivalry remained unabated despite their frigid seclusion. Stefan Zarankin, an archaeologist in Antarctica, accidentally confirmed the existence and presence of the Igigi on Swiss News TV, which has now been seized. We now know the Igigi developed a fierce rivalry as they dug for riches beneath the surface of the earth. Passed worldwide, their factions fought for supremacy and the favour of their heavenly overseers. Instead, the buildings they erected to harness Earth's energy served as conduits for hostility, drawing energy into the centres of hostilities. The Igigi's uncontrollable discontent led to a final revolt due to the unrelenting competition. The sounds of disobedience became a symphony, resounding throughout the underground worlds they had created. Their common grievances overshadowed their differences, and the factions united in rebellion. Ningishzida, ever the cosmic provocateur, saw his bold vision come to fruition. The creatures he called upon to alter Earth, namely the Adamu, had rebelled against the status quo. Their uprising echoed through the outposts, the mines, and the very fabric of cosmic government. The story of the Igigi, Ningishzida, and the earthly uprising they initiated demonstrates the intricate relationship between fate and aspiration. In their quest for wealth and power, they altered the course of cosmic history and the surface of the earth. Even among the stars, the choices made by gods and mortals weave the threads of fate, as evidenced by the echoes of their turbulent endeavours. The amazing discoveries made in the frozen continent of Antarctica in recent years have captivated scientists and historians alike, which once fanciful myths and tall tales show intriguing hints of being grounded in reality. The appearance of old buildings that appear frozen in time and buried beneath the ice has raised questions about their history and function. The most amazing of these finds are the elaborate stone settlements and pyramid-shaped buildings revealed by melting ice. These ruins hint at a mysterious past and prompt speculation about prehistoric societies that may have existed long before Antarctica turned into a frozen wasteland. Remarkably, there are clear trends in the distribution of these structures. The northwest corner of Antarctica contains traces of stone communities, consistent with the accounts of the Igigi miners, the heavenly labour force mentioned in the stories of the Nephilim and Anunnaki. The buildings in this area imply well-organised societies, which may have functioned as the habitations of these alien miners on their missions to retrieve precious minerals from Earth. However, indications indicate enormous subterranean networks and pyramidal structures in Antarctica's eastern and southeast regions. These enigmatic patterns resemble the supposed Nephilim architecture that the celestial giants created on Earth. Based on conjecture within the mythological story, these pyramids might have functioned as heavenly fortresses or hubs of influence for the Nephilim. These buildings' appearance is also consistent with the old stories about the geographical separation between Nephilim and Igigi. The possibility of resources hidden beneath the ice may have attracted the Igigi miners, who were purportedly in charge of mining operations from Antarctica's southern regions. Their towns might have served as staging grounds for their mining operations. The Nephilim outcasts may have been housed in the eastern and southeastern regions, where pyramidal structures have emerged. In the cosmic story, these entities were viewed as disobedient. They might have been banished or imprisoned on Earth. Interpolating this into the context of these recent finds, the pyramidal constructions may have contained the Nephilim as strongholds or prisons. The echoes of cosmic dramas and old myths become louder as Antarctica's secrets are revealed by melting ice and modern archaeology. Ryan Moorhen is putting together an expedition to Antarctica via Argentina, Punta Arenas, to get to the bottom of all this. If anybody is interested, get in touch. Even though these new discoveries may never provide conclusive evidence for extraterrestrial life's existence, they encourage conjecture and force us to re-evaluate the possibilities regarding our planet's past and its relationships with other planets. The resurgence of the Anunnaki. The course of human existence will change dramatically in 2037. For many years, the legend of the Anunnaki, ancient Nibiru extraterrestrial beings, has been written off as a myth. The legendary planet Nibiru, whose elliptical orbit caused it to pass through the inner solar system several thousand years ago, has been reduced to historical fiction. However, astronomers everywhere will stare in shock as they see Nibiru return to their telescopic screens on a crisp autumn night in 2037. The Earth turns a vivid purple and green as Nibiru's massive form rises out of space, inspiring both awe and fear. Governments will call emergency sessions to discuss the approaching cosmic event, and religious authorities will find it difficult to reconcile their beliefs with the unexpected appearance of a planet resembling something from a myth. Nibiru, once far away, is getting closer to Earth Day, altering the tides and the stability of the geology. People struggle to accept the possibility that a highly developed extraterrestrial civilization might be making a comeback to Earth, which led to a global panic. Scientists are working feverishly to decipher ancient texts that explain the Anunnaki and their plans. As soon as the first transmission is received, the world will begin to breathe, and communication attempts will be launched. The voice of the Anunnaki will be deep, reverberating in everyone's thoughts, and it will identify itself as the Anunnaki leader, the Supreme Enlil. He will explain why they are returning. The system will collapse, and the Anunnaki have always viewed humans as their long-forgotten creation. The Anunnaki will use their cutting-edge technology to alter Earth's environment in new ways. Massive energy domes will envelop cities, shielding them from the planet's growing instability. Ecosystems that had been completely destroyed will miraculously recover, but at a high cost. Humanity will have to submit to the harsh rule of the Anunnaki. There will be resistance organizations that are certain that Anunnaki will not be all that good. The Free Earth Coalition, an underground movement, aims to learn the truth about the Anunnaki's impending return and their ultimate plans for humanity. According to additional ancient texts that the coalition deciphered, the Anunnaki engaged in a power struggle that led to their exodus millennia ago. The world will witness apocalyptic events as hostilities between the Free Earth Coalition and the Anunnaki intensify. Earthquakes will reshape landscapes, volcanoes will erupt with unprecedented fury, and reality will appear to warp. It will become clear that Nibiru's reappearance changed the laws of physics. Amidst this commotion, Dr. Ilara Harkin, a bright physicist, will reveal her revolutionary discovery. She has discovered a weapon that has the potential to dissuade the Anunnaki and reclaim humanity's independence by unlocking the hidden potential of Nibiru's energy. Dr. Harkin has devised a scheme to channel this energy and split space-time apart with the Coalition's assistance. The Coalition will engage with the powerful Anunnaki forces in a pivotal battle in the center of a destroyed Sumerian city. Dr. Harkin will pull the trigger on the weapon, tearing open the rift that separates Earth from another reality as the Earths above erupt with cosmic energy. The ensuing shockwave, reverberating through time and space, will undermine Nibiru's influence on Earth. The Anunnaki's dominance over Earth will be lessened, and their massive earthy domes will disappear. The Coalition's triumph was a watershed in history, but Nibiru's return had unintended consequences. Reconstructing a world irrevocably altered by the collision of civilizations lay ahead of humanity. A story of truth, cosmic upheaval, ancient mysteries, and humanity's unwavering spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. The reckoning of Nibiru, the Anunnaki's resurgence, is told. It serves as a reminder that the human spirit and the quest for knowledge will persevere even under the most dire conditions. Myths, legends, and ancient writings from many cultures have spoken of giants known as the Nephilim and creatures known as the Anunnaki throughout human history. These tales have captured people's attention and sparked discussions about their relevance, existence, and origins. This blog will explore the intriguing realm of Earth's giants, the genesis of the Earth, and the enigmas surrounding the Anunnaki. The Nephilim, Old World monsters. The Nephilim were giants who towered over ordinary humans and are mentioned in the Hebrew Bible. They are specifically mentioned in the Book of Genesis, Genesis 6, 1-4, where they are described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. Their existence raises interesting questions concerning their origin and purpose. The Nephilim can be interpreted in many different ways. Some people think these strong creatures result from human fallen angels mating with humans. Some see them as the offspring of Seth, a son of Adam and Eve who mingled with Cain's evil line. Whatever their origin, the Nephilim continue to be a contentious and enigmatic subject in biblical studies. The ancient astronauts, or Anunnaki, Sumerian mythology dates to approximately 4000 BCE, one of the oldest known human civilizations, and this is where the term Anunnaki originates. The Anunnaki are a group of gods mentioned in Sumerian texts, and they are thought to have been crucial to humanity's emergence and advancement. Proponents of ancient astronaut theories have postulated that the Anunnaki were advanced extraterrestrial beings who visited Earth in antiquity rather than gods. The Earth was thought to have passed on wisdom, impacted human evolution, and even interbred with humans, which some argue contributed to the emergence of strong leaders and god-kings in prehistoric societies. Writers such as Geraldine Clark have significantly contributed to the popularity of ancient astronaut theories in recent decades. However, for strange reasons, mainstream academics frequently reject these assertions as theoretical and lacking supporting data. Much debate and conjecture surrounds the existence of giants and extraterrestrial visitors in antiquity. The Nephilim and Anunnaki stories are considered myths and legends by mainstream academia, although some enthusiasts find them fascinating. Academics and researchers use various techniques such as comparative mythology, anthropology, and archaeology to solve these puzzles. Although concrete proof of the Nephilim or ancient astronauts is still elusive, delving into these myths can reveal how ancient societies understood themselves and the influences that shaped their worldviews. The stories of giants on Earth, the beginnings of the Nephilim, and the unearthed mysteries surrounding the Anunnaki remain captivating and challenge our comprehension of past civilizations. Whether these tales are believed to be myths or fascinating possibilities, they provide a singular window into the human desire to delve into the unknown and find the answers to life's most important questions. Even though the truth about these legends is not secret, our enduring curiosity and fascination with the past have led us to search for their secrets. The blending of myth and reality has always fascinated historians and archaeologists. During an expedition that was initially focused on uncovering traces of the Great Flood and its famous Ark, an incredible discovery was made at this fascinating juncture. The legendary Nimrod, a figure often overshadowed by the biblical Noah, was discovered. Those who have studied biblical and ancient Mesopotamian history will recognize the name Nimrod. According to the Hebrew Bible, Nimrod was a great hunter and a powerful warrior who is credited with building Nineveh and Babylon, among other ancient cities. His name is often associated with ambition and power, lending him an air of mystery and mythological importance. The hunt for Noah's Ark has captivated the interest of explorers, archaeologists, and biblical scholars for centuries. The Bible tells the tale of the Great Flood, a catastrophic event that destroyed all life on Earth, except for the humans and animals that took refuge on the Ark. In this story, Noah's Ark is said to have been crucial. Many searches have been conducted to prove the Ark's existence based on allegations and purported sightings. Although the Ark's existence has not been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, these investigations have provided insight into the historical and geological setting of the biblical flood story. As fate would have it, archaeologists made a startling discovery during one of these expeditions, which was mainly focused on finding the remains of Noah's Ark. Several excavations at the ancient city of Babylon, which is situated in modern-day Iraq, turned up artifacts and inscriptions that suggested the presence of a strong leader by the name of Nimrod. Written in cuneiform script on clay tablets, the inscriptions detailed the conquests, accomplishments, and contributions of Nimrod to the emergence of early Mesopotamian civilizations. These findings not only gave the biblical character of Nimrod historical context, but they also presented a novel viewpoint on the interplay between legend and fact, The fact that Nimrod was discovered during the hunt for Noah's Ark serves as an example of how history is a dynamic field that is always impacted by fresh archaeological discoveries and theories. This surprising discovery has complicated our understanding of ancient history and the tales that have influenced our cultural and religious narratives, even as the search for Noah's Ark continues. The enduring appeal of ancient mysteries is demonstrated by their journey from legend to history. In the process of looking for Noah's Ark, the mysterious character from biblical and Mesopotamian legend known as Nimrod was found. This finding emphasizes the significance of ongoing research and discovery in archaeology and shows how these stories are interconnected. More mysteries that connect myth and reality might yet be discovered as historians probe further into the past, providing insight into the actions and lives of people like Nimrod and their significance in the annals of history. Two brothers named Enki and Enlil had a deep talk under the night sky's cosmic tapestry in the far-off realm of the Anunnaki among the gods. They looked down on Earth, where the Nephilim, their creation, became a source of great concern. The god of creativity and wisdom, Enki, spoke first. Enlil, my brother, our creation, the Nephilim, has grown in numbers and power beyond our expectations. Their presence on Earth has become a matter of great disturbance among the other gods. Our children have crossed boundaries that were never meant to be breached. God of the air, storms, and divine authority, Enlil looked down at the Earth gravely. You speak the truth. Enki Nephilim's influence and actions have disrupted the natural balance of Earth. They've interfered with the destiny of humankind, teaching them forbidden knowledge and tampering with their fate. Enki let out a sigh. But they are also our children, Enlil. We shaped them in our image, and they are endowed with our intelligence and spirit. To banish them is to condemn them to a harsh existence. Determinedly, Enlil furrowed his brows. It is the will of the Council of Gods. The Nephilim's actions have led to chaos and destruction. They have waged wars, bred powerful dynasties, and sowed discord among humankind. Their hubris knows no bounds. Reluctantly, Enki nodded in agreement. If we must banish them, where do you propose we send them? The world is vast, but we cannot let them roam freely and further disrupt the natural order. Enlil studied the Earth's polar regions. I suggest the great southern continent, namely Antarctica. It is a harsh and unforgiving land, isolated from the civilizations of humankind. There, they will be far from the influence of our other creations. Enki and Enlil made up their minds as they looked upon Earth. Their beloved but misbehaving child, the Nephilim, would be banished to Antarctica's cold, barren land. God and I did not make this decision lightly, but a sacrifice had to be made to bring the world back into order and safeguard humanity's future. Thus the Nephilim were banished to Antarctica, a place of ice and quiet, where they would live in seclusion and isolation from other human societies. Both their abilities and their influence on the world waned. The gods that kept watch over Earth would be the only ones who would ever know the fate of the Nephilim. In recent years, Antarctica has become an unexpected and fascinating centre for archaeological research, raising the possibility that there may be more to ancient Sumerian history and the mysterious Anunnaki than myth and legend. Though it may sound like something from a science fiction book, there is mounting evidence that the continent in the south of the world may be hiding secrets that will change how we think about ancient civilizations. The Sumerians, renowned for their sophisticated civilization that flourished in Mesopotamia some 4,000 years ago, left behind a wealth of cuneiform writings that have shed important new light on the origins of civilization. The idea of the Anunnaki, a group of gods thought to have been crucial in the creation of humanity, is central to Sumerian mythology. This story was mostly regarded as mythological until recently, but things are beginning to change. Several well-known Mesopotamian academics have been surreptitiously drawn into obscure research projects, most focusing on Antarctica. This trend has generated much curiosity in the academic community because it isn't coincidental. Interpreting Sumerian cuneiform tablets and comprehending the intricacies of Sumerian civilization have been the focus of many academics' careers, they have also been drawn to places where snow and ice have concealed mysteries for ages. One wonders what secrets they are revealing in Antarctica's frozen depths. Though still cryptic, the answer suggests a link between Antarctica and Sumerian civilization. According to some scholars, the Sumerians may have known about Antarctica, or even been present there, and their writings and myths may have contained information about this. There may be more to the myths of gods coming down from the sky to shape humankind and impart knowledge than just metaphors. Ancient maps showing a very different Antarctica than we know today, such as the Oronteus Phineas and Piri Reis maps, provide evidence supporting this theory. These maps raise questions about how ancient civilizations could have learned about Antarctica when it was supposedly covered in ice, and suggest that ancient civilizations knew about Antarctica at that time. It was known in the Middle Ages in Europe that the sons of Anak made these maps. The royal families of Europe still mention this. In addition, intrigue surrounds the enigmatic structures in Antarctica, including the well-known Piri Reis anomaly and the remains of what appear to be artificial underground tunnels. Might these represent the ruins of an extinct society connected to the Sumerians, or perhaps the Anunnaki? The convergence of ancient texts, maps, and recently discovered archaeological discoveries has piqued the interest of scholars willing to delve deeper into the connection between Antarctica and Sumerian history, even though these ideas are still far from being universally accepted in the scientific community. Obscure research programs and the hiring of Mesopotamian scholars to investigate Antarctica's mysteries make this unfolding story more intriguing. The implications are profound. Is it possible that an ancient civilization that once flourished in the frigid expanses of Antarctica is the source of the Sumerians' myths and legends, with their stories of gods shaping humanity? Could the stories of the Anunnaki have a true historical foundation? We might eventually discover the lost history of the Sumerians and discover that the Anunnaki are not just mythical creatures, but rather a part of a secret chapter of our planet's history, waiting to be revealed, provided research in Antarctica continues and the historical puzzle pieces fit together. Although the actual significance of this connection is still up for debate, it demonstrates how archaeology can alter our perceptions of the past and change how we perceive human civilization. There are secrets in Antarctica that we are just now starting to learn. Recent evidence suggests that the Anunnaki Nephilim may have been imprisoned in Antarctica, but the Amorite giants were the last Amorites to live. They made it to America and constructed the ancient burial mounds there. According to recent excavations, the Amorites also constructed the ancient Dark Pyramid, which was buried in Alaska. The majority of people today, regardless of how long they have been Christians, are surprised by the story of the creation of the giant Nephilim in Genesis 6, just before the flood. Simply put, there haven't been many sermons in the church concerning the period when spiritual entities, the sons of God, had intercourse with human women and gave birth to Ahiman, the Philistines, Rephaim, Saph, Sheshai, Sihon, Sippai, sons of Anak, Talmai, Toz, Zamzumim, Hittites, Isbi-Benob, Jebusites, King Og, King Sihon, Lami, Michael Heiser, Nephilim, and Arba. Regardless of how long they have been Christians, most people are still surprised by the creation of the massive Nephilim in Genesis 6, just before the flood. Simply put, we haven't heard enough sermons in church about the period when spiritual beings, the sons of God, had sex with human women and gave birth to an earthly giant race that was essentially divine. Similarly, we are taken aback when, following the deluge, our eyes are opened to reveal the presence of giants. This is made abundantly evident in Numbers 13, where Moses dispatches spies into Canaan, and upon their return, they bring back tales of having seen giants. The land through which we have gone to spy it out is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people that we saw in it are of great height. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who come from the Nephilim. And we seemed to ourselves like grasshoppers, and so we seemed to them. Interestingly, the Nephilim that these spies saw were also called the sons of Anak, or the Anakim, as they are referred to in other places in the Bible. This is significant. When we read the names of individuals and groups in the Bible, we usually don't pause to visualize them in great detail because we have nothing in mind. However, We now know that the descendants of the giants mentioned in Genesis 6 are the ones to whom we should refer whenever the biblical terms Nephilim or Anakim occur. The Amorite giants have existed long enough to adopt various monikers. In this instance, the giant Anak has become so well known that the giant offspring of Anak are now referred to as the Anakim. There will, however, be additional names for the giants because the Nephilim go by various names in various countries. For instance, Deuteronomy 2 informs us that other nations know other groups of giants, including the Emim, the Rephaim, and the Zamzumim. It is also clear that some Amorites were referred to as giants since the prophet Amos describes them as the height of cedars. But the Bible's more complete picture of the Amorites shows us that not all were giants. Similarly, the Bible shows that a few giants were distributed among the Amalekites, Hittites, Jebusites, Canaanites, and Philistines, among other human clans. There were giants everywhere. Oddly enough, we should miss all of this because these giants are directly in Israel's path because they live in the land that God has promised to his people. In light of this, we might hypothesize that God brought Israel to this land, especially to complete the task of eliminating the giants, which was only partially the purpose of the flood. Upon closely examining the Bible, it appears that the people living in the Promised Land could be driven out rather than necessarily dying in battle if there were no giants in particular areas. According to Michael Heiser, the purpose of the Old Testament's holy wars was to exterminate the rebellious giants. The Bible names a handful of giants. As we have already established that the sons of Anak were giants, we can link Anak's father, Arba, and his offspring, Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, to the giants by name. King Og, a Rephaim who slept approximately 13.5 feet long by 2.5 feet wide, is also mentioned in Deuteronomy 3. Since this passage compares Og to another Amorite king named Sihon, we can infer that Sihon was one of the giants among the Amorite human clan. His direct descendants built the Dark Pyramid of Alaska, now buried underground. The battle for the Promised Land is getting closer for all the giants above. However, if you are familiar with the tale, you know Israel did not completely destroy the giants. The most well-known giant of all is Goliath, whom we meet much later in David's time in the land of Gath. As Joshua 11:22 states, there was none of the Anakim left in the land of the people of Israel. Only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod did some remain. According to different Bible manuscripts, Goliath measured either 9 feet, 9 inches, or 6 feet, 6 inches. This is the Bible's only accurate measurement of a giant, with scholars generally accepting the 6 feet 6 inches reading as accurate. Although this may not seem like much of a giant to us, Goliath was strong enough to wear armor that weighed 126 pounds and wield a spear with a 15-pound tip, suggesting that there may have been other distinguishing characteristics for identifying a giant. He was undoubtedly a terrifying sight. Many people find Goliath an odd tale of an atypically tall man who appeared out of nowhere. Nonetheless, the Bible has been preparing us to view him through the lens of the Nephilim. He is one of the giants' surviving descendants brought to earth after the flood. Furthermore, Israel continued to battle additional giants in the Philistine land during David's reign. During a war, a giant called Ishbi-Bob set out to kill David with a spear that weighed roughly half as much as Goliath's, but one of David's soldiers had already killed him. In previous battles, the Israelites defeated Goliath's brother Lami and a giant known as Saph or Sipai. And lastly, a giant with 12 fingers and 12 toes was also defeated during one of these battles. The Amorites Nephilim, who in reality. One group of characters in the Hebrew Bible is the Nephilim, the offspring of God's sons marrying the daughters of Adam, the great biblical giants, the fallen ones, the Rephaim, and the dead ones. Identify the Nephilim. Where do the men of renown, the heroes of old, come from? The Nephilim, whose name translates to fallen ones in English, are the offspring of divine beings, sons of God, and divine women, that is, daughters of Adam, according to Genesis 6:1-4. Biblical giants and formidable fighters, the Nephilim, are well known. See Ezekiel 32:27 and Numbers 13:33. Due to the notion that the Nephilim were the result of the sons of God and daughters of Adam mating, the Nephilim once had a bad reputation. it is unlikely that this interpretation is accurate because Genesis 6:4 consists solely of praise for the Nephilim and contains no criticism. This was believed because the next verse, Genesis 6:5, introduces the flood narrative, and their name means fallen ones. Furthermore, the term fallen ones probably alludes to their divine paternity changing into the human state, albeit a nearly superhuman. The Nephilim are only known by that name in Genesis 6, Ezekiel 32, and Numbers 13. So where are the origins of Rephaim and the dead ones? The Bible refers to two groups as the Rephaim. The first thing to realize is that these are not two distinct titles, but rather a name, Rephaim, and a meaning, dead ones. First, there are deceased individuals who, like saints, have attained a nearly divine status. The second is a term used to describe the races of biblical giants. This second use is frequently mistaken for the Book of Nephilim. The Rephaim are mentioned in Deuteronomy 2:11, 3:11, 2 Samuel 21:19, and Joshua 11:22. They are almost always depicted as one of the Rephaim, Anakim, Og, or Goliath, opposing Israel or its envoy. The Rephaim fulfill their name in this way since their goal in every story is to perish. The title given to these characters foreshadows the juxtaposition of the powerful biblical giants defeated by the underdog, God's God, the sons of God, and the Nephilim. The Israelites of antiquity held a less favourable perception of demigods than they did of Perseus, Achilles, and Hercules. The accounts of Noah's flood and the lineages of Adam's descendants are sandwiched between a few mysterious verses that confound many of us and leave us wondering what they mean. The sons of God declared that the daughters of man were beautiful when they started to increase across the earth and had daughters. Then the Nephilim were on earth, and when the sons of God came to the daughters of man, they bore children to them. Then the Lord said, "My spirit shall not abide in a man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. These were the powerful, well-known men of long ago. Genesis 6:1-4. Generally speaking, it's simpler to brush it off and continue reading about Noah and his family. However, the question still stands. Why would the author of Genesis choose to mention these sons of God and their Nephilim offspring? The sons of God, Hebrew Benai Elohim, gave birth to children with the daughters of men after giving in to their passion. This is revealed in the text. Their progeny were dubbed the Nephilim, which means the fallen ones. They were the mighty ones of old and men of renown. The audience to whom the text was intended would have understood the sons of God to be the members of the divine assembly mentioned throughout the literature of the ancient Near East, including the Bible. See Job 6:1, Job 38:7, Psalm 29:1, Psalm 82, despite centuries of rabbinical and church tradition to the contrary. The sons of God are typically portrayed in the biblical texts as inferior celestial beings serving the Most High. The sons of God also appear as divine beings serving El, king of the gods, and Asherah, his queen, in the texts of the surrounding cultures, such as the Canaanite literature discovered at Ugarit. They consist of characters like Mot, Yam, Astarte, Anath, and Baal. The audience in Genesis would have been aware that these so-called fallen ones were the offspring of angels and human women. Interestingly, miscarriages and other unusual births are also mentioned in other places, where the word Nephilim derives from. Exodus 21:22. Every society has myths and legends about gods having children with humans who become epic heroes and legendary kings. This is why the author highlighted the Nephilim in their description, which translates to something like ancient champions who made a name for themselves. The adventures of Hercules, Achilles, and Perseus are well known to many of us in the West, and the classical versions of their stories have been told and retold for more than 2 millennia. However, many well-known classical tales are reworkings of older Near Eastern tales. The ancient Israelites would have been familiar with the vast corpus of heroic literature from Babylon to Egypt, including stories like the Epic of Gilgamesh. The epic stories of demigods slaying monsters that the Israelites enjoyed are an obvious source of trouble for readers of the Bible, because they glorify a pagan culture that is far removed from the one true holy God of Israel. The religious authorities of ancient Israel probably feared the stories of Gilgamesh and other demigods would lead the people into idolatry, just as my 8th grade Bible teacher believed my intense love of Star Wars would one day lead me into witchcraft. But the Israeli leaders did not threaten school detention, unlike my teacher. Rather, they opted for a far more diplomatic way to address the Israelites' fascination with epic hero tales. They integrated them into the framework of their own story and provided an orthodox explanation for them. Rather than completely rejecting the existence of well-known heroes, the author refers to them as the fallen ones and virtually holds them accountable for the complete depravity that overtook the world and required the flu. We can only speculate as to how they tainted the world. Still, the idea of making a name for oneself is obviously at odds with the perspective found in the Bible, particularly in the Book of Genesis. It reminds us of the pride and wickedness that originated in the Garden of Eden. Humans chose to unite and construct a tower to heaven in Babylon, a place long associated with epic tales and legendary kings, shortly after the flood to establish their name. Genesis 11:1-9. Were they fabricating their tales to become historical figures alongside the Nephilim? We have only conjecture. We do know that the man who enters the biblical stage soon after the foolishness of Babel is a childless man without any great strength or glory. He is not the son of a god or goddess. Instead of the power derived from his divine lineage, his gift ensures a future for his children. And it's God-man who bestows upon him a new name that will live on through the ages: Abraham. The biblical texts also identify the Nephilim as the ancestors of some of the most dreaded enemies of the Israelites, so their legacy did not end with the deluge, Numbers 13:33. The Rephaim, a formidable race of giants, were another group that the Israelites had to fear and were already legendary by the time they arrived in the land, Deuteronomy 2:11-23:11, Joshua 12:4, 13:12. It's unclear if the Israelites initially confused the Rephaim with the Nephilim, but it's certain that by the intertestamental period, 4th and 1st centuries BCE, the Nephilim were believed to be the enormous, terrifying progeny of fallen angels and humans, as reported in the Dead Sea Scrolls and the pseudographical books of Enoch and Jubilees. The Greek Septuagint writers used the word gigantes, even in their translation of Genesis 6, evoking images of the dreadful Titans, the legendary giants that the gods were said to have whipped out. Like the ancient Titans, the mythology surrounding the Nephilim still expands in contemporary times.